Hey everyone. It has been a long time since I've spoken to you on camera before. And every time I get on camera, I start off by feeling a little bit nervous. So I'm just going to get these jitters out and talk for a second. Um, I am contacting you, I am reaching out because I have some big changes with the courses. And what I want to do is share those big changes with you, and then after that, I want to share with you what is going to change for you and what doesn't change at all. So I was hoping we could just jump right into it. But first, I wanted to share something, a little bit of a story, and I think it will help make more sense on why I'm making these changes. This year has been a little bit challenging, or it was at least when at the beginning of the year. I'm not sure if you remember, but our family was affected initially by the fires at that time when we had that in January. And fortunately, I am still in our home. We are obviously one of the very lucky ones. Well, following that, I had just a doctor's appointment that I just kind of was not following through on because there was a lot going on. I just had a baby now a year and a half ago, and then the fires, and just life of having two children now. Anyhow, I had some flashing in my left eye that wouldn't go away. I didn't really think anything of it because I had the sort of flashing, the same type of flashing with my first daughter, who you probably remember seeing in some of my videos, who's now actually almost 6 years old. So it's been a long time where I was having these flashes in my left eye. So I finally, with my husband's insistence, made the eye appointment and just went in for a routine check and just mentioned, I had these flashes. And she's like, okay, we'll just check it out. We're going to dilate you. But I'm thinking, like I've done all the research. I've Googled it from top to bottom before I even went in. And I'm thinking, it's just that I'm not getting a lot of sleep. I'm back to being the first year of motherhood again after, several years of getting rest, like full nights of sleep. And anyhow, what she discovered was a growth in my left eye. And the only thing that sparked me thinking something was off was just these flashes. Everything else has been perfectly fine. My vision is 20/20, and it's more than 20/20 because I've always overexcelled in identifying colors and details that you know, most people can't see. Not to brag, but well, I'm saying that because there was no way that I expected anything like this. So anyhow, she escalated the case. I went to the next appointment, and at that next appointment was the first time that at the end of it, I'm going into it just being me and making jokes with like everyone. And I, 3 hours later, I'm sitting with the second doctor, I guess. And it's the first time that she mentioned that this could be cancer, um, which was, instant tunnel vision, instant, what? and instantly I start thinking about like, what exactly does this mean? Does it mean I'll lose my vision? Does it mean that I'm going to lose my eye? Does it mean that I'm going to lose my life? So these are obviously the questions that you have. And she said, there's really no way to know right now, but we're seeing some concerning things. I won't go into the details. And so the case then got escalated up to UCLA, which has like the best team, maybe even in the world, for ocular melanoma. And so after lots of testing, there's some things that they found that were concerning, obviously, which is what everyone else saw. Um, and then there's a couple things that they're hopeful for. So the first thing is, if I've had it for a while, it's not huge. It's close to some areas that can be concerning. So obviously we're taking it very seriously. But she wanted to document how fast growing it is because that would give us a lot of information. Um, anyhow, so we waited a month. And after a month, they went through the testing again. And she was happy to tell me that there was no growth that they could see. So it's not fast growing, which is great news. And we're hopeful that maybe this is something I've had forever. Maybe this is something that they call just a freckle. And it's not ever going to develop into anything serious. And I'm just focusing my mind on that outcome because that's what I do is I try to focus on the things that matter to me. Now, obviously, yes, I can focus my attention on that, but I'm also a realist and a dreamer, so those things can be conflicting at times. But I do know that it might be something that is, you know, that we will have to deal with eventually, because a lot of times these things aren't even recognized until people are in their 50s or 60s, and I just turned 40. So we may have caught it early, and if we did, that's great news. There's a lot of options on, you know, what we can do with it, and they gave me some idea of what those surgeries would look like, which are sound crazy. But anyhow, the most important thing was it had me reevaluate everything, everything in my life, family, dreams and aspirations, and what I want, what I would love the rest of my life to look at. And I think those things are funny because that saying is like, um, we make plans, and God has His other plans. So as much as we try to come up with what that life would look like, it really is just we don't know. But I knew that there were some massive changes that I needed to make. Okay, with that out of the way, and this has been a long time coming. I've been thinking about making this video for you guys for so long, so I might be jumping around because there's a lot of things that I've wanted to share with you, and probably some things that I will leave out, so you can get to the end of this video and figure out what it's all about. So anyhow, when I started making these courses 4 years ago, I made them with a team of people that had contacted me because they had seen my other work. And that fell apart. And I'm not going to go into the details of that because it's not my place. And I wish them the best of luck. But what I have learned from that experience is that when you make something, you take ownership of it yourself. You make the experience exactly the way that you want to. You make your art, you make your education, you make what you want to share with people the way you want to without the influence of others. And it was all in all a positive experience, even though at the time it didn't feel like it. And what I ended up having to do was basically rebuild my courses over and over again on different websites, different platforms, on different whatever I can do to just keep pushing these courses out into the world. And the funny thing is that the first time I was going to launch on my own, the day I was going to launch, the very same day, I had a very weird stomach ache. And I was thinking, okay, it's nerves. I'm going to launch my courses, you know? And then I took a pregnancy test. Turned out I was pregnant with my second daughter. And I was like, okay, this is kind of a weird timing, a weird, you know, uh, is this a sign? And it felt weird. It felt like a big thing. And actually, the first thing I thought of was like, oh my gosh, I can actually finally put all these courses on YouTube. Because I had, kind of dreamt about putting these courses on YouTube and making them available for everyone. But then, I felt like I had then, like, I was just acting out of fear and like, oh my gosh, everything's changing. And I felt like I then came to my senses and was like, no, you got this. You're going to do it. You push through, you make it work, whatever. And so that's exactly what I did. I stopped, I had invested all this time and money into launching the courses on my own. And then I had to basically stop when I found out I was pregnant so I could kind of just focus on what was important, which was getting through this pregnancy since my first one was challenging. So after the birth of my second daughter, when I should have been sleeping, I was up with her on my lap, rebuilding the website, re-uploading the courses, trying to make it work again, and trying to make this into all right. So my phone stopped recording like mid-sentence. But so yeah, I finally built everything and I made it into, like what it is right now, what you guys have seen and experienced. But with this diagnosis, it made me reevaluate everything, as I told you before. And the one thing that kept on coming up over and over again was I'm just not doing art anymore. I'm not making movies anymore. And as some of you might know, I used to work in film and went to film school for 4 years, and I used to make videos a lot. And I just wasn't doing all of these things that I used to love anymore. I basically became a sales and marketing person. Anyhow, what I do love is our community. And as you probably have seen, is that I've dropped out of the community for a little bit because I've had to make some big decisions. And I'm still looking, I'm still watching, but I just needed some time to figure all of this out. I was at a dinner party one night and at my friend's house, and it's not even a house, it's a farm in the city. I don't know how to explain it other than paradise. And they have always been the most incredible people who open up their home and welcome everybody in and give free workshops and free food and just free everything, basically. They met each other because of their love of education and farming and community building. And so I was talking to my, you know, to my friend, and she was asking how the courses were going. And I said, great. And I said, but I just wish I could put them on YouTube. And she's like, so why don't you? And I was like, I don't know. I just, I spent all this time, effort, energy, and like all of these years building this thing. And she said, well, why do you want to put it on YouTube? And I said, I just have always kind of felt like that was what I should be doing. Um, I don't know how to explain it other than that. I see this thing in the future, 5 years, maybe not right in the beginning, becoming something that could be wonderful and available and accessible for people worldwide. And I think right now, when things are so uncertain, when things are scary, um, what we need right now more than anything in this world is to come together and find ways to build each other up, to help each other find their voice, pursue their dreams, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's it. So you're probably thinking, what does this mean for me? And how are things going to change? Because you may also have a feeling in your stomach saying, well, I spent the money and now everyone is going to be getting this for free. And I understand that that might be something that feels maybe unsettling. But here's where I'm hoping you will open your heart a little bit, is that this doesn't mean it's the end of like what we've started. This is something that I think is going to grow our community, and I'm not sure exactly how big or how small. But our community here does not end. It continues, and I'm hoping that you continue to stay in this group and share your artwork um, and watch it and be a part of it and be a part of this journey. And I am hoping also that if I do someday open the doors to this specific group or community, that and you're still here, I can give you one of those like titles that Facebook does that says, like expert or whatever. So people who do come in know that you are someone that has been here from the beginning, that knows the story and is part of the story. What does it look like for you taking the courses online? Nothing's going to change. I'm going to keep everything available for you as is on my website. I am going to stop the actual sales part of it will not be going to a sales page anymore. It will be transitioning to eventually my the playlists. But ultimately, I want to give an opportunity for people to get access to this for free if it is something that they want to do, that they want to pursue, and they haven't had an opportunity to do so yet. And that's pretty much the whole gist of it. So if you stop right now, that you've gotten the whole story, really. But I do want to finish by thanking you, number one, for being with me on this journey, for being so supportive and so just genuinely wonderful. It is not easy to be a teacher online. When you're a teacher in the, oh, my dinner's ready. When you're a teacher in the classroom, you get to, you know, be with your students and look them in the eye. And I don't get that opportunity with all of you. I don't even know what you look like except for your profile pictures. And so sometimes it does feel like I'm speaking into the void. But then when I see your artwork and I see what you're creating and you share the stories of your life, your family, your dreams and aspirations, I just feel so grateful and so like, wow, I cannot believe that we are building this together. It is inspiring and it is exciting. And I really hope that you stick around and we grow this thing together. Um, that's it. That's all I have for now. Thank you for everything. Thank you for everything. Take care. Bye.